And we are broadcasting you live from our home offices, being in strict compliance with the COVID-19 requirements for real estate agents. And we want to get back to you with our weekly market updates. These have kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit as we've kind of juggled and jostled getting things sort of virtualized, if you will. But Matt and I are committed to bringing you out the latest news, keeping you up to date on what's been happening in the real estate market. We know there's buyers out there, there's sellers out there, right, that need to get deals done. So
Right.
we're going to cover some statistics and then very quickly, and then jump to basically some news and what's going on in the market.
Kind of a finger in the wind of where are we within real estate and Corona.
There you go. All righty. Okay, so we look at two broad markets, as people who follow our weekly updates know. We look at the Greater Portland area and generally Casco Bay waterfront area. So let's start with looking at the Greater Portland area. So currently we have 151 active listings still in the market in the Greater Portland area, which is still a healthy amount. Breaks out to about 69 condos, 49 single-family homes, and 33 multi-family homes. Since last week, there's been 10 closings in Portland, the Portland market. The lowest price closing was a condo on Grant Street for $255,000, a two-bed, one-bath, and the highest price was single-family home in the East End for $1 million.
Wow.
Down $500,000 from its original list price. So it does show you there's people that are coming down to get things off the market.
I thought that was striking. Listed for $1.5 million, closed at $1 million. Is that a case of, just mispricing? Is it a case of Corona? Maybe a mixture, but it just tells a story either way.
Yep, hard to say. 4-bed, 3-bath, over 3,000 square feet. Then quickly turning our attention to Casco Bay, which, as you recall, is the area from the Phippsburg Peninsula down south through Portland out to Cape Elizabeth to Cape Small. So that over there we have 95 active listings on the market. 29 of those are pending. We had 3 closings in the past week along the Casco Bay. Lower price was a charming old farmhouse in Harpswell on the water. Sold for what's the sale price for that one there? Oh, that's the one. $770,000.
Yes.
Okay. 6.5 acres of waterfront and 2 outbuildings. So quite a significant sale over there. The highest priced sale was a Waterview condo on the Eastern Promenade. That was a 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet. Sold after just being 4 days on the market. $855,000 cash sale. $14,000 less than the original asking price, suggesting a fairly well-priced home at that price level. So we see transactions are still happening, albeit with some changes to our protocols and our procedures, which we're going to go into a little bit right now.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing that this market update, reveals is that there's still activity going on in the market. I mean, how many, Mike? 100 and something active listings, just Portland. 10 closings in the past week. Things are still happening, but they're happening intentionally and safely. Mm-hmm. And so what that means is Mike and I put together a video a few days ago, a little webinar. Just kind of like, what's the state of the market? How is it operating? Where are we? We get questions every day. Is it crashing? Is it going to be like, oh, wait, are prices going up or down? What's happening? And so this is our way of answering those. Real estate is deemed essential in the state of Maine. Mm-hmm. No, that's not a surprise to anybody. The question is, which towns? Some of them can go above and beyond. Cape Elizabeth, for example, has shut it all down. Mm. Portland had it shut down. Now it's partially open.
Right.
It's tougher for multifamilies and non-owner occupies.
For sure.
Otherwise, you can sell a house.
Right.
I think the biggest key, and it seems to be, Mike, that we just have your face covered, gloves, wear your booties, don't touch anything.
Right.
Imagine that, imagine that the house you're going in, the person living there has Corona. How would you act? And that's kind of how everyone's doing it.
Right. And Brunswick also is still in some flux. We're looking for some guidance on that from our management there. Town of Brunswick is meeting again this week on the 21st to reassess. But real estate's been, I believe, unessential until now. It's been a bit of a gray area there. But we have some looking into on that. For people that are out there looking at buyers, today's Sunday, but I've spoken to 3 or 4 buyers this morning. And what we're doing is when they find a house that they like in the area, Matt and I will send out one of our buyer's agents and basically when the house is vacant or it's empty, and we'll do a walkthrough, video walkthrough, FaceTime call with, you know, virtually as well, virtual showing. So those are being done now. So that's really the first step for a serious buyer is reach out. If you see something you like, a property, want more information on, reach out to us. And we can get you hooked up with a virtual showing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's to piggyback off what Mike's saying. That's what we're doing now is virtual showings. If you're meeting with us, it's virtual, like this format.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you who have worked with us in the past or any agent at all have seen digital signatures. We can now even do digital closings, remote closings. It's still getting worked out. However, as a state has allowed for remote notary, which means you
Right.
can now sign your deed remotely. So
Right.
interesting times for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's time to be adaptable. But for those of you that are coming onto the market and been thinking about buying, we definitely are seeing opportunities. I mean, every type of a disruption, creates opportunity for somebody. Matt and I sort of looking at it as like a tennis match, right? Someone's
Sure.
always happy with the last shot, but it's not always the
Right.
person who made the shot. So
You got to be the ref,
we try to be the referee in this situation and look out there and play the market as best we can. So for those of you who've been looking to buy something right now, people that had second homes, Airbnbs, investment properties, which have really been very much tightened up and shut down on here in some cases, in some areas, those properties are coming on the market and they're being more flexible to sellers as far as pricing goes. So, others are, it sort of affects people individually. So we're seeing some people basically take their homes off the market. They're not going to sell now. It wasn't pressing for them. So their prices are not depressing. So it really depends on what your motivation was to be a buyer or a seller at this time, whether
hmm
you're going to be affected, having to pay up or get a better deal. I know it sounds
Right.
funny, but it's not like in '08 where the bottom fell out of the housing market, lenders were collapsing, and inventory was pouring on. It was a supply demand issue there, and also a very bad lending practices. What we're seeing here is a situation, an outside source, not related to the financial, necessarily intrinsic value of real estate. So how it affects individual buyer or seller, meaning their motivation to buy, motivation to sell, and where they are price wise, is very individualized to that buyer or seller. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's what makes us really, really, really unique. So the moral of the story is if you are thinking of selling now and thinking, wow, maybe this is the wrong time to put my house in the market. Well, actually, if you've been looking to sell and you have something that someone else wants, right, there's still a tremendous demand for it. The same
Sure.
token, if it's a property that might be off the beaten path or for whatever reason, certain uniqueness to it that people aren't clamoring for, then yeah, you might see the prices soften. So it's very individual depending on the motivations and the property. So reach out to us. We're happy to guide you as best we can.
So I know there's been a lot of changes, Mike, in the lending side.
Mm-hmm.
Qualifications. I know
Right.
you've kind of been on top of that a bit. It sounds like they're going to have higher minimum credit scores
Right.
and maybe minimum reserves have been heightened as well too, right?
Yeah, we're seeing some of the bigger banks have already taken and very publicly taken J.P. Morgan, Chase. They're not necessarily huge players in the market for first-time home buyers or originations, but they do sort of set the tone that a lot of the other lenders will follow on. So, when you have the necessary things being done, like abating mortgage payments, abatements on rent payments, people taking advantage of, that's being done, and the lenders are complying with that because it's being mandated in many cases. By the same token, they are changing their lending parameters right now so that new loans being originated, people will be less likely in the future to need those abatements if and when that they continue or ever come again. So
Gotcha.
nothing goes essentially, everything has a price to pay for it. So we're seeing lenders saying, okay, we will lend to you now, but only with a higher credit score, more reserves, a better debt to equity, less debt, more income ratios. So they're tightening up the requirements. So only the strongest of, let's say, potential borrowers are going to be qualified now. So yeah, that's changing, and it's changing really by the day.
So if you've been in touch with a lender and you think you know where you are, it might be wise to, circle back with them and see,
Yep. Yep.
if anything's changed, in terms of how you're pre-qualified
Yep.
now.
We certainly have had to make some quick changes with our lenders. In other words, the lenders that we work with, we'll work with multiple different funding sources, and they've had to make some fast changes to take the people out of one program into the next program or bank to bank to keep their rates competitive and keep them in qualification. So yeah, it's changing pretty rapidly. So it's something to keep an eye on. And reach out to us if you need a recommendation for a good lender. We're in touch with several that are really on top of everything. Just sent one over to Elliot this morning, actually. So,
oh, perfect.
Elliot, if you're watching, you're getting you should be getting a email from me about reaching out to a buyer I spoke to this morning. So there you go.
Cool.
All
there
right,
you have it. Business doesn't stop, whether it's a Sunday or it's Corona, you know.
It doesn't stop. It just simply adapts. So we're out here. That's the message. We're out here. We're working hard for you guys. We'll keep you updated. Anybody looking to buy or sell, invest in real estate now, obviously, depending where you're at, let us know. And we are going to do our meetup, I believe, on the last Wednesday, which is what, next week on Wednesday?
Yeah, not this week. It's the one after.
Yep.
And we will try to coordinate that one with David Morris. Last time we had, Corona-related issues, but I think the dust has settled enough. We should be able to, have a pretty nice collaboration.
Yep, there you go. All right, everybody, until next time, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the little bell, so you'll get notified. On Facebook and other platforms you're watching it, go ahead and share, like, comment. Love to hear from you. I see Leo's saying hello to us from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Leo.
There we go. Leo from Pennsylvania.
And tomorrow, Mike, a little sneak peek for everybody. We're going to start our new thing where we go in and just kind of look at some new listings on the market live in this format, right?
That's right. Yep. That's our goal is to pick an area and look at some listings and take you sort of on virtual tours. Because we just want to keep things moving along. Because I know from speaking this week, I spoke to no less than probably 15, 20 buyers just coming onto the market. And people need houses. People are renting. Their leases are up. And there's so many different reasons why they need homes. So we're out there working hard to try to rustle it up and get them some properties. So,
All right.
Until next time, everybody, stay well, stay safe. And we'll see you virtually again this week.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the sun out there, guys.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Take care.